First of all, welcome. Thank you for getting this course. I'm 100% sure that you're gonna gain ton of value. I gathered all of this information throughout my marketing career, digital marketing career, I would say, and reading ton of copywriting specific books and making a lot of research. So I did quite a bit of surveys, A/B tests myself, and in the agencies I worked with in the past, they've done a lot of A/B testing in terms of testing different types of copies. So we gained quite a bit of information over the years. And one of the top books, if you haven't read it, I definitely suggest it. Tested Advertising Methods. So this course is actually getting ton of quotations from that book as well, which is amazing book, amazing book. Pretty old, but it's giving you a ton of good information. What to expect, and the fundamentals are still the same, guys. So don't get me wrong. Like in 100 years before, maybe like not 100 but 50 years before, people actually react the same way to some sort of headlines, some sort of call to actions. So the human psychology is changing over the years, but still we base our beliefs on the same similar stuff over the years. So first of all, let's start with what is copywriting. So this is the introduction part. If you want to just jump into the good stuff, you can skip this part as well, but I definitely suggest you stick around. So copywriting, guys, when I first started understanding about copywriting, it seemed kind of a type of a vague concept, right? I thought, oh man, fuck, like it's a scam, probably scam, when I first started advertising. Because, how can you judge the importance of writing certain stuff, right? I wasn't thinking that is important at all. I was just mainly thinking of, let's put some good images, creative is enough, and they'll be getting us quite a good, like a long way, right? And get some purchases, get some quality leads through the ads, or even if you're writing a blog post, right? Like if the content is good, if the product is good, I thought it is gonna make a sale, or give us a lead, or increase the traffic, or increase people staying on the site even more. It was my initial understanding when I first started. It was 10 years ago, I would say. Now, over the years, like the time passed, I started reading here and there what type of stuff actually made the difference. And I started to test certain stuff, and even the slightest differences in, let's say, a Facebook ad, which we're going to cover later, slightest differences in how do you talk to the customer can actually drastically change how many people click on your ad, how many people purchase. And I've seen a lot of quality jewelries, let's say necklaces, and just because their website was like really fast, working amazing, but their product description was so bad, like there was nothing there, right? I worked with clients in the past like that as well. Their product description was total ass, and they didn't make any sale, even though their product was kick-ass, super good, like 10 out of 10. Shipping was cheap, and product price was cheap as well. But the product description wasn't given that's the trust that people need, the emotional end goal that people need, enough description, product description people need, because like what you write in the product description is actually gonna increase the conversion rate drastically. You won't believe that, right? And also as an advertiser now, like after all that many years and a lot of research, when I take a client, for example, in the agency that I'm working right now, I always ask, okay, let's take a look at the product description first before we start. If the product description is shit, we need to change that first, because I'm gonna land people to your website, but if they don't purchase, I'm gonna look bad, right? I don't want that, because copywriting is that important, guys. It might seem like a vague concept. You go to Fiverr or something, everybody is a copywriter, right? Like taking a download course on copywriting, everybody's a copywriter. It's not that simple. There are a lot of tests and human psychology involved. There are a lot of good books on it. I will suggest that at the end as well. You can take a look. The first one is Tested Advertising Methods. It's the OG of copywriting, I would say. And the other ones, of course, take a play in Facebook ads and the new stuff as well. And there are small tweaks that you do. Of course, that was back in 50 years ago. And today, certain stuff, people's attention spans are lower. So that is one thing that we need to consider. You're writing digital copywriting, right? On websites. If people land on your website, that is not that important. But as an advertising, if you're doing paid ads, that is critical. Attention spans are lower. Attention are lower. So I'm not talking about the product description here. This is for the ads. For the ads, attention spans are lower. So you want to convey what you want to convey as quick as possible. But for product description, the more is always better. The more, the better. Because people want to know. People want to know what this is all about. If you have information to write about, put it in there. If you have no information to write about, you don't want to make sentences look longer. We're just going to jump into the presentation now. And of course, we're going to come back to the board, jump back into the platforms. If you're ready, we're going to start with headlines, which is the most important thing in copywriting. Headline is the deal breaker or the deal maker. So if you're going to get the attention of that person or not. You're just going to jump into headlines, which is really, really important. Headlines. Excuse my shitty writing. Let's jump back into headlines. See you in the next slide. Alright, let's start now. Guys, this headline part is actually really important. What kind of head we're going to cover, what type of headlines attract the most readers, and what type of headline increases the CTR. So these are actually easy to get opinions. You're going to ask someone, this is better, and so you're going to ask your mom, she's going to say this is better. You're going to ask your boss, he's going to say this one is better. You're going to ask your friend, she's going to say X one is better. But these do not matter at all. So you're going to ask your friend about that headline, but that doesn't really make sense because she's not the buyer or he's not the buyer, right? So first and foremost, testing is everything. You need to test everything. You're going to ask, let's say 10 strangers. It's one way of testing. We're going to do Facebook ads, different ad sets, and try testing. All right, fundamentals. All right. So first and foremost, you need to have these three: self-interest, curiosity, and news element. You're gonna ask me why these are the make or break of headlines. So you're gonna write a headline, you need to have self-interest, curiosity, or news. But the first one that you need to have is self-interest. So the first one is actually the most important one, right? You have no other option but to use self-interest. So let me show you real quick back again. You need to have self-interest in all of the headlines. You're gonna ask me like, what the hell do you mean? Like, fuck, right? I know what you mean. We're just gonna cover this right now. All right. So self-interest, make it about them. If you write a headline, let's say, did you know, did you know this plastic straw actually kills 100 turtles? Even though they might care about the turtles, they're not gonna give a shit because there's no self-interest in that, right? Even though I'm like the most animal lover, by the way, I have to put it that way because you need to understand the ideology of the idea, right? People care about themselves. If you want to sell something, it needs to be about them, right? And curiosity and news elements. Okay, so these two are not make or break. Self-interest, you need to have self-interest. That is one. And you are gonna combine self-interest with curiosity or news element. You're gonna ask me how you can do that. We're just gonna jump back in and I will show you in a second. But curiosity, for example, let's say, see how this woman in her 40s lost 20 kilos in 1 week. So this is arousing curiosity, and it's also about them. So they want to know how I can actually lose weight in that period of time, right? So it is still about them and sparks curiosity. If you have curiosity and news but no self-interest, that's a bad headline. How I can say this? Let's jump back into the presentation and I'll show you in a second. All right, so here, do you make these mistakes in English? So this one is a self-interest headline. There is no curiosity, there is no news element, right? It is just a self-interest headline. So you're just asking the person, it's about them, but there is no curiosity nor a news element. Let's check the curiosity one. Give news. Okay, we know what curiosity is, right? It's all about give news, but you can still give news, right? Lost $35,000. Okay, that sparks your curiosity. That is some type of new. I don't want to confuse you, so I'll just delete this. All right, lost $35,000. So you're actually getting curious. What the fuck is that? Are you playing fair with your wife? Curiosity. That is some sort of a self-interest is that, but not full self-interest. So I wouldn't consider that as a self-interest headline, but a pretty good curiosity. But if you want to rank them, this headline is gonna make more sales than this one. Then this one is gonna make more sales than this one. A new kind of hand cleaner. Okay, so what is about that? What is about that in me, for me, right? I don't give a shit. Why? People are gonna think that. So, a new kind of hand cleaner that keeps your child safe. If you make it this automatically turns into a self-interest plus news. So always put news into it because it's gonna make you more sales, gonna give you more clicks. And if you're doing an email marketing, it's gonna give you more click-through open rates. So always combine self-interest. So it was originally new kind of hand cleaner. This was the news element. So please take notes. This is the fundamentals. You need to nail this part down. All right, curiosity versus self-interest. So we're gonna look at some examples here. Okay, here is one question. Let me just close this part. Here is one question you shouldn't ask your wife. Okay, that is some type of curiosity, a little bit of self-interest, but it is not included in there. So I wouldn't consider that as self-interest, just curiosity. You can laugh at money worries if you follow this simple plan. Pretty good self-interest, pretty good headline. It is probably like a life insurance or a business course type of headline. This one is. So self-interest, this is gonna make more sales, 100%. Let's look at the other example. How I saved myself from baldness. Pretty good self-interest, a little bit of spark of curiosity, but self-interest, mainly self-interest. Let's look at the second one. How a strange accident saved me from baldness. By the way, these are tested examples, and this one has self-interest plus curiosity. And the one that has self-interest plus curiosity got more sales. So, self-interest plus curiosity equals more sales, guys. Don't try to be clever when writing headlines. So, you has to be including self-interest, curiosity, or news. If you don't have none of them, even if you make the smartest fucking headline ever, you're not gonna make any sales. Trust me on this one. I've tried it, and a lot of experts tried it. It doesn't work. So you have to have those. This is the formula. Sale formula. Self-interest plus curiosity or news element. If you can combine three of them, that is perfect. But you are not going to have any sales, maybe one or two, if you don't have this formula. Trust me on this one, and let's move on. All right, how to make a good headline awesome. So there are curiosity only headlines are not bad. So you can make pretty good sales with just curiosity headlines. But if you make a good curiosity headline, an even better headline, you're just gonna put self-interest in that. Let's look at this. How a full stunt made me a star salesman. Okay, so you do not really give a shit about that person, right? Actually, just curiosity. You just arousing curiosity in this one. How a full stuntman made me a star salesman. Well, I don't give a shit. How I became a star salesman. Curiosity plus self-interest. So how I became, or how you can become a star salesman can be a good one as well. So you're making that about them. How you can become a star salesman. Curiosity plus self-interest. So this one actually made more sales. Self-interest should be only, should be in the mix all the time. And there's one thing I really want to cover here: advertising juries and the award-winning ads and stuff. So John Caples actually talked in his book a lot about this. You're gonna have a bunch of ads, or let's say freaking copies that have awards, right? Award-winning copy, award-winning something, award-winning awards. Doesn't mean anything. You're gonna ask me why? Because people who are actually judging the awards are the juries. They're not the ones that actually buy that product. They are the ones that are just sitting behind the desk and actually deciding, looking at the whole picture, looking at how that headline, for example, if you look at a Facebook ad, there's this image, you have your primary text over here, primary text, you have your headline. By the way, this headline is not the headline that we're talking about. The headline, I mean, is like the literal title. So over the primary text, you're gonna have a big headline here. This is the headline we're talking about now. So this is called headline in Facebook. Just don't mix it up. And there's the description. They're gonna look at the image, how they fit with the primary text, and how that fits with headline, and how that fits with the description. They're gonna look at how witty it is, how funny it is, how complete it is. But when you're advertising, as we talked about in the previous one, people have really short attention spans. They don't give a shit about the whole picture if you can't get their attention in the first headline. That's why headline is the make or break. You're not gonna so the juries are gonna read the whole thing. But let's say you're making an ad, your headline doesn't have self-interest, doesn't have curiosity, and the person is not gonna read your whole primary text or your description or watch your thing here. That's the simple truth. So if you want to actually get people to buy your stuff, you need to get them to read your headline first and get their attention. So in headline, we want to get their attention first. Otherwise, they're not going to read the whole text. So if you want them to read the whole text and actually consider to buy or not, we want to get their attention. And that's what I mean by the awards actually doesn't matter. This is not me saying this, by the way. This is John Caples, the top copywriter in the world. The OG judges are not buyers. So if they read the headline, don't like it, bam, you're done. They're not going to read the whole thing, right? So we're going to look at the failed headlines now. Alright, so let's look at the failed ones. No, don't call me. So these are actually tested email copies. Some of them are digital copies. And they actually fail to make some profit out of these ads or get enough attention. No, don't call on me. Okay, so they probably want to gain some, spark some curiosity and make them want to look at the full ad, but it didn't work. The odds are against 9 to 1. The odds are 9 to 1 against you. Okay, so what do I get out of it? There's only curiosity, but no self-interest, no news. A test of how well read you are. they try to put some self-interest, a little bit, you are there and talking about me, but it's not actually arousing any curiosity, and the self-interest is not really there. So nobody cares about how well read they are or something like that. They care about what they're gonna get at the end of it, right? So also you want to convey that is very robbing you of the good things of life. Okay, there's something about me, but am I interested? There's the really self-interest there? No. Are you living in a circle? It's really bad. No self-interest there. Okay, talking about me, but is it interesting for me? Is it like I worry about that? No, I don't. So I'm just gonna skip that. Right? Let's go to 5 rules of writing a good headline. Self-interest is every headline. We talked about this. We covered this. Implement news elements or new use of an existing product. Or you can do curiosity. But only curiosity can make your headline fail, actually. We can see this over here. Always include self-interest. Avoid negative statements. Let's say, how this bald man grew his hair in 5 days. This is a positive statement, right? And let's do a negative one. You're gonna stay bald if you don't do this. This is a totally negative one. So if they make a test, the positive one is gonna win all the time. Try to suggest there's a quicker and easier way. I'm not talking about the snake oil salesman type of copies that have, for example, win this like $300,000 of price if you like tag your friend or something, I'm talking about the realistic ones. There's a quicker way of scheduling your social media posts. There's a quicker way of taking care of your dog when you're walking, right? So these type of quicker, but these are not really perfect copies. I'm just making it on top of my head. But these are the rules, guys. Okay, avoid the ones that are hard to grasp. So people don't have time. We are in the digital world and they're not going to pay attention to those headlines which are actually hard to get, hard to grasp really quickly. Dependability. So these are failed ones. Again, dependability, a word that grew out of a fact. So this doesn't spark any self-interest, doesn't have any curiosity, doesn't have a news element, totally failure. If every wife knew what every widow knows, no husband would be without life insurance. So that's a totally failed one. It is hard to grasp, a pretty long one. See how I stuttered reading this. So, and also prepared this, by the way, don't get me wrong. So imagine a person who haven't heard of this before. They're gonna be like, fuck this, right? People feel resentment towards ads they don't understand. There was a quick story I will just share with you. Back in the days, there was an ad that was trying to spark curiosity, but they actually failed to make it because people actually had resentments and anger towards that brand associated in their head because they didn't understand it. People don't like not understanding stuff. People don't like being mysterious. I'm not talking about dating. So we are just actually interrupting their daily pattern and presenting something. And if they don't understand that and they see it everywhere, for big brands, they make this mistake a lot. They're actually leaving sales on the table. Even if it's a branding perspective, they're associating negative stuff with their brand. And John Caples in his book talks about there was this woman, and John Caples was actually talking to that woman like, he was asking, why don't you like this brand? I don't know. I think I really don't understand what they're trying to say in their headlines. So that's why I think my anger stems from. She said to John Caples, and John Caples actually wrote a whole chapter about hard to grasp headlines are actually making people feel resentment towards your ads. Alright, headlines that only state facts but no news are really, really bad, and you're going to lose sales out of this. Okay, when a dull film covers teeth, smile, lose fascination. Okay, this is a fact, but no self-interest. What do I get out of it? Do I get like a beautiful white smile out of it? It's not really mentioned here. Nothing rolls like a ball. They probably, you know, like create an Apple type of ad here, but they actually failed to get enough responses or make enough profit. All right, capitalizing long headlines. So this is actually quite important as well. So some headlines on Facebook ads, for example, or Twitter ads, or your blog post, you're gonna have a long headline here and there. The shorter is not the better all the time, and it doesn't really matter if you use the like simple techniques and fundamentals in your ad. But if you're gonna use a long headline, you need to capitalize some letters. Here, for example, on Google Ads, by the way, on Google search, they're not gonna let you capitalize like this. If you capitalize a whole word, but not just the first letter, they're gonna penalize you, and you're not gonna be able to publish your Google search ad. I'm talking about the digital side of things right now, Google search ads. But here, the secret, let's say, the secret of how to be taller, and the key word here is actually tolerance. So the right way to do it is actually capitalizing this one. And I see this mistake a lot, and I've done this in the past, and I'm 100% sure you've seen that as well. The secret. So they don't want to, you know, spark the secret, make it capital and make it big. The secret of how to be taller. That's actually quite wrong. And they made a test, and this one actually performed better. How to be taller. So you're given solution to actually people for how to be taller, right? The secret is not the main thing. Okay, that's good. That's sparking curiosity. But taller is your keyword here. Good furniture. Now it's time to buy. That's the right way to do it. Now it's time. Bam. Sounds good to capitalize now it's time, but what you're selling is not now it's time. You're selling good furniture. So you want to capitalize this one. The finest quality. Okay, that sounds, you know, like high end. You want to make it big here, right? Sounds like it. But it is not the case. The finest quality aluminum railings money can buy wrong. This is the wrong one. Aluminum railings, bam, capital. That is what you're selling. The fire quality money can buy, bam. So you want to make capital what you're selling, what you're offering. You're not selling the finest quality. Actually, that is an adjective, but you're not actually selling this. And these are all tested, by the way. I'm not saying because it looks good. If you ask me, the secret being capitalized looks better. But, you know, people have opinions, but it's hard to get facts. So always look at the facts when you're writing copies. And if you show this two examples, for example, to your boss or, you know, brand manager or whatever you want to be in, or if you, like you're asking your friend or you're running your own ads online, they're probably going to say secret, capitalize secret, but capitalizing taller actually made more sales, may gain more attention. So always test, guys, always test. That is the key. Alright guys, welcome back. Now we are gonna cover the copy part of things. The copy is actually quite important as opposed to popular belief. So we're gonna cover copy today. I'm just gonna write the headline for you before we start right away. So what is a copy? Copy can be different in any scenario, right? In a Facebook ad, we're gonna see a Facebook ad after this, for example. There's this primary text headline, and let's say you get the attention of that person, and after the headline you're gonna have a long tail copy or a short tail copy. That is Facebook ads copy. On Google ads, for example, we're gonna have on a search ad, let's say, if you're not really familiar with digital marketing terms, you can also check out my other course, which was Zero to Hero Digital Marketing, which is super in depth. If you wanna, you know, dig deep in Google ads, social ads, it is pretty good quality, guys. I can tell that. Anyways, let's go back to the topic. Okay, on the search ads, if you're familiar with search ads, you know you have your three headlines, which switched back to responsive search ads, and you can. You have the option to select, you know, multiple headlines, and it automatically rotates. And you're gonna have, let's say, 3 headlines, which is gonna show on Google's first page. Sometimes it shows 2. Anyways, And these headlines are your copy, but you can also think of those as a copy. I would say there is no headline in a Google search ad, so everything is a copy there. And the description is also a copy. So there's going to be 3 headlines, which are, I call them copy as well. And let's switch back to, let's say, TikTok ads. You're going to have the same exact thing. Email ads, there's this headline. If a person decides to read the headline, they're going to go down and read the whole copy, right? And if they're going to see if the offer interests them, like triggers their emotions or whatever, we're going to cover that in a second. They will read that. Or let's say you have a billboard and you have a headline in the billboard, and underneath that you have a copy. You want people to take some sort of action. Call to action is critical, guys. Call to action, you probably know it. Call to action. So you get people to take some sort of action at the end of the copy, right? In a billboard ad, it is more visual, more appeal based. So in a billboard ad, for example, you won't be able to have too much of a space to write a long copy. But on digital ads, which we will jump into to see examples of, the more you write is the better. You're gonna ask me, like, how can this be true? You like, this doesn't make sense. But guys, if you have the details, the more you write is gonna be the better. Even on the Facebook ads, if you have that information, the more you get in the nails of that customers, the better it is. So in the future modules in this course, we're gonna cover how people scan a landing page. So landing page copy is totally different than a Facebook ads copy, for example. But let's jump back into the presentation, and I will show you the appeals and the type of copies that you should actually use, and which ones actually are making more sense to use, which ones have been tested. Testing is extremely critical, guys. I see a lot of people or managers. You might have a marketing manager or the client actually, this doesn't go in line with my brand, but actually they think in a really, how can I say this, they're on a high horse and think that their brand, everybody's eyes is on their brand, and they might disassociate it with their brand, or they have like crazy ideas, guys. One of the best copywriters that I follow is Sabri Subi. He has an agency, King Kong. Check him out. I don't know the guy personally, so I'm just like follow his content. Pretty good copywriter. I have to tell this. His copywriting, he always says, what is the worst thing that can happen when you're advertising? People not clicking to your ad, right? People not clicking your ad, and you're not getting any website traffic. So what is the opposite of clickbaity? Okay, this, some people say, the brands usually, the clients usually say, oh, it is too clickbaity, I don't want that. But what is the opposite? People not clicking on your ad. So you don't want that either. Actually, not too clickbaity, but of course you're gonna have some clickbaity to actually get people to click on your ad, which is critical. You need that. If you don't have it, it's a bad ad. We covered this in the headline section anyways, so let's get to the appeal overall. What this is, copy plus headline. So this is gonna cover copy plus headline, make more money. These are tested, by the way, with many other different appeals. Appeals is a general term. I know it is not really specific, but you can think of it as, okay, copy plus the headline. I will just cover this because this is really important. Save money, prestige, easier chores, comfort, reduce fats, which is look good, prestige is at the same time, and desire to be in a group. So these should be your Bible in terms of when you're writing a copy. You always want to trigger those emotions. So people always buy stuff because they have like an underlying reason. They don't buy stuff because, let's say, they don't buy a protein powder because it has 25 grams of protein in it. They want to buy protein powder because they want to lose weight or gain muscle. So the underlying factor is not actually 20 grams of protein in one scoop. The underlying factor is reducing fat. So when you're writing the copy, which we will get into it in a second, always keep that in mind, guys. Now we're gonna cover this little bad boy over here. First paragraph of the copy. So there are a couple of ideas that we need to know before we decide our style. So every copywriter is gonna have a different style, but of course there's do's and don'ts. We of course want to cover those. These are styles, right? So you don't have to use everything. Just like headlines, we have to use, for example, self-interest in the headline. We have to use either news element or curiosity element. But here, these are not must things, so you can choose bits and pieces. So, for example, let's start with interrupting ideas. Irrelevant idea to break the pattern. So you give a headline, let's say lose 10 pounds in 20 days, and in the interrupting idea, let's say 1 in 10 Chinese men see these, see these sicknesses when they're 50, like super interrupting, and then you start building up the story that is quite relevant to that headline as well. But in my experience, I don't see that working as good in the advertising space, because this idea was first thrown out back in 1960s, and nowadays advertising is changing. This is one of the biggest. It is good in magazines and stuff. It's been tested in magazine sites and newspapers. It has been working really good in those areas, those types of advertising and publishing. But in like social media ads, digital ads, I haven't seen many success with this. And a lot of copywriters I've been talking to, they have the same experience as this. The shocker is more, so it is irrelevant to interrupting ideas, but more striking. So a really striking one, like you're putting more flavor into it, maybe more shocking stats, more facts, or more having more emphasis on the certain topic, that certain headline, certain paragraph you have. News, I really like this one. I usually use this one. For example, you started with lose 10 pounds in 7 weeks or something. I forgot what we said as an example, but let's say in the news one, Johnny lost 20 kilos in 7 days, and he's now going to his wedding, which he wasn't able to get into his wedding suit, but now he is. It's kind of a news element. Or CNN reveals this fastest fat loss technique that Chris Hemsworth has been using for his latest role in Thor. Kind of, right? This is a news element. This gets the eye, gets the attention, gets the thumb to stop. Preview, better for blog posts and PR copies, not my suggestion. So it gives quite a bit of an overview what you're going to talk about. So this is not really relevant for an social media ad copy. I need to put that in here. So this is quite important. So when you're writing Facebook ad copy, or let's say Google, or like an email copy, it's not gonna work, guys. So this is not good for digital. Not good for digital. Alright, so quotation is really good. So you put the headline really striking on Facebook ads. Let's say it doesn't have to be that striking. The simple ones as well. Put a smile on your friends, and get this, baby shower cookies to them, kind of. It's a pretty long headline, but it's a headline, and in the quotation, you put some quotation about giving them gifts, like a famous person made a quotation, and it actually amplifies that headline. So I really suggest this one. I really like this one personally. One of my, like I always put, if I'm writing a blog post or blog post for clients, I always put a quotation in the first paragraph. It actually works, but the best one yet is the story. I took a note over here. Over half of top performing magazines and digital ads start with a story. So this is so powerful, guys. The most powerful thing is a story, because you maybe put the self-interest in the ad headline itself, but You cannot always talk about self-interest in the copy. You need to spark things up. So story is actually putting a social proof in it. So even if you don't put like a real story, the story can be made up in an ad. A lot of the stories in the ads are made up as well, but the more social proof you build, the more actual stories you're gonna have. So you start with the fake ones if your brand is totally brand new, and then you will replace it with stories. But you have to sparkle those stories in a powerful way. So you have to start with emotion. So we're gonna come up with some examples in a bit. Let's move on. The copies that are recommended. So these are actually the before one was like the first paragraph of the copy. So we're gonna move on to the whole copy in a sense. Straightforward copy is really important. I always go with straightforward copy. Story copy is as important as it is. Just be careful, guys. Don't confuse that with this one. This was just the first paragraph of the copy. This is the whole copy as it is. So for example, if you're writing a copy for a blog post, it is going to be more than 4,000 words. Sometimes maybe like 10,000 words, depending on the copy, right? And in that case, you're going to need a whole paragraph. Whole, like a page, a couple of pages, probably. You and me, not my favorite type, but for a short tail ad copy on Facebook ads, maybe. Imaginative, I wouldn't use that on social ads, not at all, because you have a really limited time. It will actually drive people away from the ad itself. Factual copy is really beneficial. So let's give an example on factual copy real quick. Example. Actually, we covered them in the next slides, but let's get to this next slide. So I will cover them more in depth. Facts plus style. That is really good. So you put the facts in 1990s. 80% of the people were dying because of cigarettes. Now it is your chance to quit with this beautiful super thing product you have, right? And you put the style in it to support that. Forthright, we're gonna cover that. Superlative, we're gonna cover that. Not my favorite ones. Sign ones, for example, this can be like a signed by CEO or World Health Association, and you can put that as an ad, as a non-for-profit. But no, most of you're watching this probably are not gonna. Maybe you're gonna work in non-for-profit, but I assume you have your brands or you want to increase your skill set. Non-for-profit is a small portion of advertisers are working with them, so you're probably not gonna use that as in this example. Or maybe you can put CEO underneath that ad copy and sign that in like that, so it makes people think, oh, okay, this CEO of that company is actually putting his word behind that. It is type of a social proof, but it is more building the brand type, I would say, right? A teaser, not my favorite. In a copy, it doesn't really make sense. How can it make sense? Maybe if you're writing a copy like a billboard ad or a blog post about a upcoming movie, maybe. A news page can work. It's a technique that I will just cover in a minute. Competitive, we'll just cover that in a minute as well. These are pretty fun, the last two ones, so I want to keep the excitement a little bit. Alright, let's jump in. Straightforward copy. This is one of my favorite copies. So there's a really good example on this one. 100 high quality specialized band note sheets and 100 envelopes are neatly imprinted with any 3-line address you designate, carefully packed and mailed prepared to your home for $3. So look at this. There is no flavor. There is no extreme words added into it. There is no talking to the customer. There is like prepared to your house is included as well, but it is going to be included, right? So it's an amazing Facebook ad copy. People, maybe your supervisor, or let's say the owner of the brand, or let's say if you're working in a big company, the client might come and say, oh, this is so short and so straightforward. But actually, it has been tested, guys. Trust me, it has been tested, and the more straightforward the ads were, the more people liked it, and the sales actually increased. So don't ever stray away from the straightforward copies, because they work. It's been tested. It's always like good to hear, like some enormous adjectives, and like they're like a poem, right? But they actually don't make sales. It's been tested, but your supervisor might think, or the client might think, oh, this looks so glorious, and so on and so forth. But actually, your supervisor or your client or the brand owner are not the customer. The customer, we're interrupting that customer, their daily life, they're scrolling, they're looking at their friends on their phone, but we're just putting that ad in. So we want to be as straightforward as possible. This is why this is one of my favorites. The story copy, amazing type of copy. So just take a look at this, and I usually use those a lot in Facebook ads, and they work wonders, guys. He was frustrated by paying wet visits every time. So you're building up the emotions, you're building up what he was feeling, right? The last visit costed him $4,000, and it was the end of it. It's like a movie scene. Like, you put yourself into that guy's shoes and feeling how expensive it is every time. He decided to find a solution. So we're coming to the end. At the end, we're at the same time we're giving that solution to this guy as well. Find a solution to it. Then he saw an article about pet insurance, and you put the name of the pet insurance. Oh fuck! Let me just delete this. And you put the name of the pet insurance, and bam! You put the story. Then you put some link underneath that, and put some benefits. Let's say first month free. Dexes and whatnot. Desexing it is free, for example, or any other type of features and benefits you can add later on. And this actually captures that audience a lot. In Facebook ads, people want to be associated. What I mean by that, they want to feel connected to the brand. If you put a story up there, then they will think automatically, subconsciously, okay, one person is going through that as well. You might also use that, how painful to lose weight, right? So this is a pain point, but there are going to be some products that are not, it's going to be hard to find that pain point, right? Why a person actually buys a cookie to her friend, a chocolate to her friend, or to himself. There's not a pain behind that, right? There is impulse buying. I mean, there is no pain behind this. So what you want to do in that impulse buying, I wouldn't suggest using story headlines, story copies. If it's an impulse buy, I would go with straightforward copy. So you're gonna, talk about the product, how delicious it is, the details, how many grams of, sugar in it, like the taste, how many pieces of chocolate in there, how many grams, how it was produced, manufactured. All those details will actually get person to desire it a little bit more. All right, let's move on. You and me copy. Not my favorite, but you're always gonna need to use you and me in any type of copy. I bake my cookies for you because I know whole day of busy work gets into your head, and you need to taste the fresh baked comfort. Okay, this is a little bit of poetic copy. I wouldn't suggest that much poetic, but manufacturer talks directly to the customer. I always suggest this. You need to always incorporate talking directly to the customer, unless it's a story copy. I would always suggest this, but you don't have to be that poetic. We will cover those in a minute. Imaginative copy. This is not really my favorite type of copy. So if you are really good at writing poems and stuff, maybe you can sprinkle in some, but I wouldn't suggest that, guys. This is not my personal suggestion. The way this cloth makes you feel is the way your mom wraps you in sheets when you were sick in second grade, right? It is actually making you think, making you imagine. You can sprinkle those details in a story copy, but I would say if you put those details in a story, that will work the best. I'm not saying don't use any imaginative words or adjectives or any other thing like that, you should definitely use those. Those details are really important, but you also want to incorporate in a story setting. That will actually make it better. Factual copy is amazing. Amazing, amazing. If you have an impulse buying product, a retail product, a food, a drinkable, quickly consumable thing, a t-shirt, a shirt, a hat, a beanie, a ring, a hoodie, these are amazing with factual copies. You can sell them like crazy and you won't believe the results that you're gonna see. Easy to dose, comfortable, weather resistant, wear masters. Selected grain leather uppers, oil tint to repel water, stay flexible with repeated exposure to moisture leather. Ramp lining wears longer, gives you more comfort across insteps. Double oak leather soles, steel shank reinforces leather insole. Look at those details, guys. He's talking about everything here. Repeated exposure to moisture. He's talking about how that it resistant, talking about every possible detail. Double oak leather soles, steel shank. Look at this, for example, selected grain leather uppers, oil tint. Amazing copy. This actually increases the sales dramatically. So if you're a copywriter, or you're just getting into copies, or you have a product and you're writing ads, if you're not getting into that detail, if you get into that detail, you will see the results drastically increase. And if you're writing copies for your product description, this should be like this in even more detail than this. This is not even that detailed. You have to give like millimeters, and double oak leather soles weighs 30 grams, 20 grams, let's say. Oil tint, repel water, stay flexible, expose moisture. Like the lines is like 2 millimeter long in width or something like that, like super detailed. What I mean is you can get into more detail when you're writing a product description, but you definitely need to use that type of copy, right? Fact plus style, it is pretty straightforward. I don't need to cover this. Facts is this one, and you put a little bit style on top of it. Maybe mix imagination into it a little bit. Forthright copy. Okay, let's cover this. This is quite a bit of a tricky one. You're gonna ask me why? Because if you actually implement this, it might actually cost you sales, right? So this is quite a bit of a tricky one. So if you're not an expert level copywriter and you're not 100% sure, I wouldn't suggest you use it. Maybe if you want to do like an A/B test, you can actually maybe incorporate this in a factual copy, right? Okay, let's start an example. But what is this first? So you're talking about certain defects about your product or service, while you're talking about to make it more realistic, right? And you make it more believable. For example, let's see our example here. Although this course is slightly boring and longer than other courses, you might find these pieces of information will enable you to become a better marketer. Bam. So it talks about how this course is great, but it talks about the defects about the course. Boring. You might find it boring. It's longer than the usual copies. The usual longer courses. So these are the drawbacks of that course, right? It's talking about that as well. So it's not like all flowers and gardens and everything. Everything is not sugars and cream. It's talking about, okay, this is a long course. You might gotta spend some effort and time in it. Maybe you can give an example in a playful way. What do I mean by that? Let's give an example in a playful way. Let's say you're selling cookies, right? You're talking about the cookie and the. Okay, let's give an example. All right, and let's make this. By the way, they changed this PowerPoint, guys. The text. The whole structure has been changed in this PowerPoint. I don't know if it's on the Mac. Maybe that's the reason. All right, let's give it a crack. So we're gonna write a short tail copy here. on a Facebook ad, let's suppose, and it's gonna be a forthright copy. Okay, and we are selling cookies, right? These custom cookies come in 10 packs, which are, let's not put it, let's keep the sentences short, so we want to make sure they're easy to understand, easy to flow. So we can, of course, we are being taught to write longer sentences, longer words in schools, and that's actually doing us really big harm in copywriting. You want to keep it as simple words, as short and sweet as possible. These custom cookies come in 10 packs. Let's say I don't know, 12 centimeter square, 12 centimeters in height, 10 centimeters in width. Let me get myself at the top. Width and 2 centimeters in thickness. You can select the colors of the cookies and design it yourself, and make it mean something, and put a heart emoji here maybe. Okay, what is the call to action? We're gonna put something that is actually believable, and it's a defect. However, maybe let's use but in capital letters. But each cookie is a calorie bomb which has, let's say, 700 kilocalories. Okay, so we're putting that defect in here. What is a defect? It is sugary, it contains a lot of calories, but cookie junkies and people who love sugar is gonna buy anyways. But as I tell you guys, it's a tricky one. You might end up actually costing that person sales. So you have to A/B test sometimes. Putting those in actually creates more believability. People actually get more connected to that ad as well, so they end up buying. But as I said, really tricky one. I don't suggest you use it unless you're extremely experienced in copywriting. Let's move on. Superlative copy. Let's see the example. This course is the best and most impactful course on the planet Earth. If you don't find this course useful, you'll be refunded with no question asked. This is proven by 3,109 customers that have landed on digital marketing jobs. Okay, this one, guys, talks about that benefits and features and how it is the best course on the platform, the best course ever, and talks about it in a way that is nobody actually talks about. It's like super confident. You have to be really confident. It's too edgy, and it can backlash to your brand. In this case, this can backlash to your brand. But if you are providing a refund, you can actually talk the talk and walk the walk. Like, you can be brave in that sense. So this is your example. Do I use it? Sometimes, if I really trust that product of that customer, and if I really have a really good connection with the client, I sometimes use it. Otherwise, I stay away from it because it can backlash a bit. Signed copy. We talked about this in the headlines. This one is quite important one, guys. If you are actually it has to be true, guys. So you cannot make it up. If you are the brand owner, you can, of course, like, they're gonna be, let's say if it's a small brand, 3 people working in this brand, or maybe just yourself, you can also put your name here and sign it, but it won't actually make that much of an impact. But if it's a Coca-Cola ad, for example, and the CEO signs it and they use it as an ad, people might think, oh damn man, like CEO signed it, like they get the brand connection. Signed statement by CEO or manufacturer or a famous person can be in that as well, right? Let's say you're selling a digital marketing course like me, and it's signed by Gary Vaynerchuk, right? It's a popular marketer guy, and you probably know him already. If Gary Vaynerchuk signed it, one of the best course, bam, it increases the appeal of it like 100%. So I would definitely suggest you use it, but of course you don't make that up. Of course, if Gary Vee didn't sign it and says the best course, you of course don't make it up. It can backlash quite a bit. But if, of course, yeah, like you might find a medium-sized celebrities, micro-influencers, and if you get them to sign and push ads to people who are actually following that person, that can make a big difference. Gymshark does this a lot. Gymshark is a brand, clothing brand for sports and stuff. They're $1 billion. They have $1 billion valuation. They always use it. They always do influencer marketing, and they always use signed copies, not in a like a signature on the paper or whatnot, but they use those people in the copies itself and say, for example, Somra Ray is a fitness influencer, love this leggings and whatnot. That can be signed copy as well. I suggest it, but please don't make it up. Title copy. So this one is once in a lifetime copy. You wouldn't use it that much. This was used in a book copy, for example, that was selling books, and they said they were actually testing the headlines and the copy itself. So there was this, let's say, they were selling random books, but they wanted to see what actually people liked as a headline, even though they don't know what is inside the books, right? I know it doesn't make sense now. Let's say you have a bookshop and you want to advertise the books to people, and actually you want to have a good sense of which books get more attention. And this was tested back in the days when they were doing coupons, and when people emailing and from newspapers and getting the coupon back. Once they send the coupon back, they know, okay, you have a discount for this product or whatever. And they did with books, book publishing company. It was a really big one. They were, for example, fiction, let's say, space love story. It's kind of a fiction. History of Ottoman Empire. So this is, for example, history. This is lose weight quick, and this is like a weight loss health type of thing. And this is Hamlet, for example. And they put, let's say, 20 to 25 book names over here, book titles, right? They tested this and they said, okay, pick one of the books that is listed. We will offer you a free copy in the email or a mail. But it was a mail back. It was back in the days. And they asked it, and they got quite a bit of responses because it was a free book. They gave it away. They didn't make any profit out of it, but they had at the end of this a quite good understanding of what type of books people liked, what type of specific. It was an expensive survey in a sense, and they also, of course, didn't just pick genres and put it like side by side. They could be like a survey, but let's say space love fiction, and they had a version of this, and Love in Space, for example. And they also at the same time tested which of the headlines actually gained more traction. If this gained more traction, they started to actually sell more books or start to write more book agreements with authors that has love in the first word in the headline, right? So they understood what people actually reacted to, even though they didn't know what's inside of the book, right? So it was a title copy. It was like a big test. So it is once in a lifetime, but I had to tell it to you. It was a really good copywriting test that was done. Okay, let's see this one. Teaser copy. The teaser copy there are two teaser copies actually. So one is teasing the person. This example is like teasing that person. And the other example, there are two types. Let me just write two so you don't get confused. And the other one is actually actual teaser copy in a way that like there's a teaser of Batman movie that's just coming up, and there's a blog post talking about that, and not giving away the whole information about the movie, but let's say he's talking about how he liked it and how he perceived that movie, or what does he criticize in the movie specifically, maybe some shots, maybe the storyline, and he's talking about that. And it's also called a teaser copy as well. But the example that I've given here is a teaser in a different sense, right? Teaser is actually teasing the reader in a sense, right? For example, the men who know it all, in quotation marks, are not invited to read this page. This page is not for wise young men who are perfectly satisfied with himself and his business. So they're actually qualifying the readers in a sense. I like this type of copy, by the way. This type of teaser copy, if you're not writing about upcoming books or movies, you wouldn't actually use the other version. But this version, I really like it. On Facebook ads, I sometimes use it. On my brands, on clients' brands, they sometimes would not really like to see that type of ad copy in their ads. So you have to be really careful with that. If it's your brand and you take that risk, by all means use it. It works, guys. It works. Increases the click-throughs 100%, but you're gonna have some negative comments on your Facebook ad. So you have to be careful when you're community managing that. News page copy. This is made to look like an editorial material. Literally, it is designed in a news feed. I will give you an example in a second. All right. So the example I will give you is from King Kong, guys, by the way. Ad library. Let's just jump onto the ad library now. Because I recently remember he was, Sabri Subi was running that ad specifically. Let's go. All right. We're now at King Kong. Okay. All right, this one. This is the one that I'm talking about. Oh, we just went to his website. Okay, this one. The one in the middle. You can see he blurred the face of the Google CEO, and you have that Google in the background, and it is the same here. Breaking news, ex-Google employee breaks his silence. It is in an ad format, in a news format, which doesn't look like an ad on the first look, but when you read it and see sponsored over here, you understand it's an ad. So it is really good actually to get that attention. Over here, it is the same way, blurred face in the background, Google it says. Okay, but of course the headline is kind of a long headline. It's more of a storytelling headline. The copy as well, storytelling, but the image itself is actually news element in it. And it's using that strategy, news copy, I will say. You can of course blend that in with other types of copies as well. But I mean, you can make a combination news page with the story. For example, Sabri Subi did here. He combined it. Competitive copy. This is really good. I suggest it. It was working. It was really popular back in the days. But now in 2000 and we're almost in 23 now, and I wouldn't say it works as good as it used to back in the days, right? So you're using your tire and special brand. Of course, you're not given their name, but Coca-Cola and Pepsi does it all the time. They compete with each other, showing their competitors like pretty clearly and giving them a hard time a little bit. More rubber volume, you're showing that you have this, and you're showing that you have more rubber volume than your competitor, more width, more weight. You're putting that all the stats, which is actually can be classified as a factual copy as well. But these are actually working really well if it's a competitive market and there's really big players and you're going after it. If you're a no-name, that can also work, because big brands usually they are selling with their brand name. But if you're a no-name coming up, you have to, before you actually build that brand, you have to get that person to think and reason why should he buy from you, he or she, right? when you put that in, okay, that guy's actually given a more bang for my buck, and he or she might actually choose your brand when he is shopping. You can use this in product description as well. That really works. So it increases the chances of your potential customer actually jump into the competitor as well. And when you're selling shoes, like let's say you're Nike and competitor, you put Puma, blurt it out and say in the product description, this, this, let's say this running shoes is really firm and can take wear and tear for 15 years, as opposed to our competitor, which is blurred in the Puma shoe. You can see it, but kind of blurred. There can be some some implications when it comes to law. They can sue you or whatever, but I'm just giving an example. So it is not probably Nike would do it if they could, but they edit again. So we're gonna cover the copies to avoid. Now you've gone so far actually in this course, and we covered what type of headlines we should use and what type of copies we should use. Now we're gonna cover what type of copies that we need to avoid. Okay, poetic copies, tries to impress type of copies, and unbelievable copies. So these unbelievable and tries to impress type of copies are actually having counterattack. So you can counter those if your copies are really trying so hard to impress or unbelievable. You can use the other copy types, which are this copy type, for example. You can put some defects of the products and make it balance it out actually, right? There are of course all types of copies that you can balance it out, but try to avoid those types of copies. Okay, this is actually really important, guys. We need to cover this because the copies and the couple of headlines that we covered are actually that you need to prefer, right? And these ones are actually quite different. These are techniques that you can implement when you're writing a copy or a headline. So selling power, by the way, is totally different than attention. You can get attention with a teaser copy, a teaser headline. Teaser meaning like don't read this if you're under 6'2", for example, right? If you're over 6'2", majority of the population will be under 6'2", so it will trigger them to pay attention. Your click-through rate might increase, but your selling power might not actually increase, right? So there's quite a bit of a difference here. Let's go back to the drawing board here. And I will show you something. All right. Okay. So guys, this is actually quite critical. There are two things that we need to pay attention to, which are selling and attention. Right? So there are two variables we need to worry about. Attention, you can get attention and not sales. So you have two options if you get attention. Attention, but no sales. And you got attention and sales. And what is the opposite of attention? No attention means no attention, which equals to no sales. There is no other way. So what I suggest is always try to get attention first, right? So there's no such a thing as you getting no attention, like you're being low key in the ads, but you're making a bunch of sales. Doesn't happen, right? So we need to get attention first. We're breaking the pattern. We need to get the attention with the creative, maybe with the ad copy, maybe with the headline, maybe, right? or maybe just specifically using really unique targeting, but still we need to get attention. Otherwise people are not going to click on the ad, or let's say they are on the ad, your product description is boring as hell, they will just bounce back. They're not going to do any action on the site. So first and foremost, attention. You need to get attention, not for the sake of it, but of course what is the opposite of clickbait is people not clicking on your ad. So since we got this out of the way, let's go back and see the types of copies that actually, or styles that actually make sales, right? Ways to increase selling power, in other words. Use present tense. That's quite important. Rather than saying, we're just going to cover that as well in a second, but rather than saying this protein powder will get you lose weight, rather than saying future tense, use this protein powder gets you lose weight. This is more impressive. Use sub headlines. This is critical, guys. Really critical. What do I mean by that? As I told you, there are two types of readers. We're gonna cover that in the website buildings way, the website building section. And one type of person reads everything. Headline. If he likes the headline, he reads the subheading, copy, first paragraph. He reads bits and pieces, every detail. The other person just skims through. How he skims through it, he reads the headline and then reads the subheadlines and gets an idea of what it's about. If he likes it, he clicks on the ad. And to get the attention of that person, we need to use subheadings. Subheadlines are critical. Even if we are writing Facebook ads copy, right? Put caption under illustrations. So that has an SEO component, but since this is not a search engine optimization course, I'm not gonna get into it. We need to put caption under illustration because it has been ingrained in our brains that back in the primary school times, we were meant to read every caption under the images and creatives. So if you're writing a blog post, on top of the SEO benefit, you of course want to put simple captions under that illustration. Use simple style. We covered that. Factual, not poetic. Choose simple words. 6th graders should understand it. Give free information. There's a style, but not necessary. You can do that. Gary Vee's jab, right hook is one of that style. Did you know, let's say 5 of 6 men has been dealing with hair loss. Is it a free info? Not really. It's a news element. Maybe you can put more information underneath that copy about hair loss and people dealing with it. That can be a free information. Or maybe you can say download this free guide to prevent hair loss, and that's a totally free information. You're not trying to sell anything, but you get their email and phone number, then you can remarket them on other platforms, right? Arouse curiosity. We covered this in headlines. This increases the chances of making sales. Make it specific, really factual. We covered that as well. Making it long, we covered that too. It increases the chances of making sales. More details, the better. Create urgency. We haven't covered this. Creating urgency is crucial. If you're doing remarketing, that is actually the most important things there is on the platform. Even the top brands, even Burberry, or Prada, Armani, they are still creating, even the top brands are still creating urgencies. They don't be like, oh, I'm the top brand. Creating urgency is proven to work, increase the sales. People subconsciously, even though they know, okay, the deal is gonna end soon, it might not end soon, but with the big brands, it might, right? It just creates a subconscious message to that person's brain that he needs to act now, otherwise he won't see that offer back again, right? So creating an urgency increases the selling power. Use present tense. All right, we covered this. Rather than saying you will feel well dressed in this suit, you say you feel well dressed in this suit. Always use present tense, increases the selling power. Subheadlines. 2 types of readers. We covered this. Reads everything and skims through. So the sub-headlines actually helps that skimmed through reader to actually grasp what is going on. Caption, not only for SEO, but more people read captions under illustrations. This habit, reading captions, is actually developed back in primary school, as I just said. Simple style of writing. This soap is made of olive. We have a good example here. I'll just read that. So this is the good one. This is super clear, simple style. This soap is made of olive oil, palm oils, no fats, whatever. No artificial coloring, no heavy fragrance. To mask the odors, more than 20k beauty experts recommend it. It's a good example, but we have a tweak that we need to do. If I were to write this copy, I took it. It's tested, by the way. This was the winner, and this was the loser. But how we can make it even better, I will just show you. This is the bad example now. You will reveal in its sculptured smoothness, its deep, piled, fragrant leather, how exquisitely soft your skin after its use. So like if you show it to a person, your friend, they'll probably think, oh man, like this looks way better, way poetic. But he's looking at it from a different angle. Maybe he's your advertising friend, but he's not the customer. Always you have to know what is tested, what is proven. That's why in this course I'm giving you what has been proven. These are all tested years and years and years and years against one another. They made specific A/B tests. They did the tests in Jersey and the tests in New York, and they saw how many people react to those. They did this online, they did this in prints, in ads. The simpler is better. How we can make it better? Let's cover this. More than 20k beauty experts. I would change it to, I would do this. If it's more than 20, we are 100% sure that it is more than 19,000, right? I would say 19,452 beauty experts recommended. So this makes it more believable in the subconscious mind. I would just change it to this. You won't believe the number of sales that is going to increase. Just this little tweak. Free info. Try to often give an ebook, free webinar, free course, free consultation. Get your free ebook now. Just we covered, download this free ebook about how you can prevent hair loss today. And get an urgency here. We have an urgency. Offer ends on Wednesday. Arouse curiosity. A movie ad example, for example. An intricate tale of big time mob doing a small town dirty laundry with brilliant staged conclusion at the annual Ice Festival. Don't tell us everything about the movie, but arouses curiosity. This is, by the way, copy, not the headline. Make it specific. Oh, we just covered this. We just covered this seconds ago, 2 slides ago. 97,482 people have bought out of these appliances, and this is nearly 10k. This doesn't sound good, and actually people tested this. One day said, it was actually I'm telling you the original test. When they first tested this, it was this specific number, right? And the client who was not the agency side, but on the client side, it was back in 1999. I think it was back in 1999. They didn't want to do it because of like a reason in law. There was this. It was a breaching law or something. I don't know. They couldn't make it that exact number, or it was increasing, or some people opting out. So they didn't want to get in trouble with using this exact number because it was a really big firm, right? So they changed it to nearly 10k in the next campaign, and they spent the exact same amount of budget, and the weather condition was the same, the number of people it reached was the same, and the response actually dropped down dramatically. And they were trying to figure out what was the difference, what we didn't do that we did in the previous campaign. The only difference was this one in the copy, right? They changed it to nearly 10,000, and that actually was the reason that their sales dropped from a specific campaign. Making it long, even the best-selling short copy ads found to be selling more with more words added. This is really critical, guys. I cannot stress how important it is. Even the short tail copies, even you add more details to it, because in Facebook ads. Let's jump into Facebook ads. All right. So here, you see, let's say this is a short tail copy, right? Let's imagine this one is a short tail copy. You see this? And if I click the see more, but you cannot see more here because it's an ad library. An ad library, you can't see it. Let's say if this was the whole ad, it will be a short tail copy. But if I click on this, bam, it goes to be as long as it gets. So this is one of the best copywriters, Sarbisubi. He's a really good copywriter, and look at this, how long he writes. There are going to be some people who's going to read the whole thing, and those people are actually going to be buying those products or services. And he has a lot of subheads over here. Stay strong partner. He's telling a story, but guaranteed is the subhead. Fiercely competitive subhead. There's subheads over here. With lying SEO agency scumbag subhead. It's more of like a bullet point type of copy, but overall you can see if it was a short headline, use it in a short head maybe if the product is super obvious. If you're literally selling milk, normal milk on Facebook ads, you can get away with short ads, short tail copies. But if you're selling something a little bit even more complicated, let's say lactose-free organic milk, you will be better off with a long tail copy. You can use a short tail here and tell if a reader doesn't click to read more, you might tell everything you need to, right? And then even if let's say some people, let's say 2% of the people clicks to see more, bam, you sell them right away. More details, more sales, right? The formula, I'm giving you the formula here in Jim's digital marketing. You're getting that sweet formula. Compelling headline plus subheading for some people who skip through, and long copy for people who stick around. So this formula never fails. If you have a good creative actually includes the copy as well, but let's say good imagery or a video for the advertising, bam, you're done. You're just gonna nail the sales if you're good at Facebook ads, of course, as well. Creating urgency. The price is going up after 2 p.m. Limited time offer ends at 9 a.m. tomorrow. Buy now for 50% off. The offer ends on Wednesday. Set a specific end date, even if you don't have one. If the offer ends next week and you don't have a set date, just set a set date, right? If you're not really sure that offer is going to end, let's say next month, offer ends in 2022, and we are, let's say, in 2021. Actually, we're in 2022, but just example. Don't say the offer ends in 2022. Say offer ends in midnight, 11 past, no, 29 past 11 or something, right? 11. Be super specific, right? As specific as it gets. This is gonna make the urgency more believable. Oh, there's a good bonus tip I got for you guys here before we go to the next module. How to make a good headline even better. So it comes down to actually making it more readable, more simple. So the easier it is for the customer to read, is the better. So the contractions are actually tiring the eye. This is like a small tip from Jim here. He will use this from now on, right? He will, this apostrophe and like make it using these contractions are actually tiring that eye. Use it this. He will use this now on. This is way easier to your eyes to skim through. Save gallons of gas in every 10 or whatever. Okay, so this is more about personalization. When you're targeting, save a gallon of gas in every 10 gallons here. Car owners, save a gallon of gas in every 10. So they tested this, by the way. I'm not making this up. These examples are all tested examples. I'm not just writing it by myself here. These are all tested, proven, A/B tests or tests in different countries that they did, or any digital or let's say random tests they've ever done. I compiled them all here. Save a gallon of gas. So this is widespread. This is not a bad actually headline. This is a pretty good one. So saving is a good appeal always. But here, car owners, if that person is a car owner, he's more likely to focus on this, right? So if you're targeting on Facebook people who has an interest in cars, the targeting is gonna make more sense if you say car owners, right? It is gonna make 100% more sense. So as a result, that you got 20% more responses. I'm not talking about sales. You got more responses. Retire in 15 years. Not a bad one, but it can be better. There's no little bit of a self-interest here. How a man of 40 can retire in 15 years. So this is self-interest plus curiosity. Way better. How to fix cars, how to repair cars quickly and easily. It's not bad. It arouses curiosity and a little bit of a self-interest. But how to fix cars quickly and easily, you're going to ask me, what is the difference? There's no difference in self-interest. There's no difference in curiosity. The exact same thing with one change in the word. You might be asking, what actually made this better? They tested this, and actually people perceived the word repair as too much work. People want things to be easier. And fix is a quick way, it's like an effortless way for people to actually get to the end result, which is actually fixing the car, you know. But this one actually just changing this little bit got them more responses and sales. They were selling an ebook or something, right? And it got them more sales, which is quite interesting. Making it sound to the customer as if it was an easy task. For example, Apple Pay, using those type of interfaces when your customer is paying is actually making them easier for them to purchase your product. Buy now, pay later, or let's say pay with Apple, pay with PayPal, pay with Stripe. What was it? Stripe? Yeah, Stripe. Register now, pay in 2 months or something like that. Those actually, the things that make it easier in the headline, and of course in that process as well, is gonna make you get more sales. See you in the next module, team. Bam, 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 team, we're back at it. I'm really happy and excited that you're going through this course right now, because I know the value that I'm giving to you, because I've taken so many copywriting courses in the past, like numbers probably over 100, probably, if there's that many copywriting courses. I took a lot of copywriting courses just to see and what my competitors were actually providing them, and I know this is one of the most wholesome courses that ever created, guys. So fasten your seatbelts. We're just gonna get into some serious space. The examples are gonna pop up. I will show you all types of examples in email copywriting. Digital copywriting is going to be mainly my expertise, so we're going to get more in depth on copywriting of how to write a proper ad. Let's get into it, guys. Let's get into it. I'm just going to cover email copywriting now. Let's start with email copywriting. Okay, headline is going to be clickbait. Headline, what I mean by that, it's a subject line of an email copy, right? So when you first actually open that email, you're gonna see like a letter that pops up. Let me open my email real quick so you can see it. All right, so you see these ones are subject headlines. So this is the example I actually wanted to show you. Your head subject line should be like this. For example, hey Jim, our pics from last meetup, and I got friends on speed dating. Actually, that gets you intrigued. You want to look at it. You want to see what's going on. Other than that, let's say, take a look at what I have to offer. Nobody's gonna click on that. But here, you insert that, like the first subject's headline, subject's first name in there. It's like a little quotation marks in the brackets. You put it automatically replace. If you ever tried any email marketing before, it's an automatic process. And you type something about that person. You can see, hey, first name of that person, our pics from last night. People will think, oh shit, I got my pics. Does he really have my pics? And he will eventually just click on it. But once you click on it, you see this is one of my friends. He's an extremely good copywriter at the same time, good marketer as well. So let's go down, for example. Okay, there is no pictures whatsoever, right? He just clickbaits it. But when people click on it, so the first thing you want out of an email is to get people to click. It's similar to being an ad clickbaity and not clickbaity, right? What is the opposite of being clickbaity? People not clicking on your ad. And you don't want people not click on your email, so they're not gonna read or take action, right? You want to be clickbaity on ads, guys. So we're interpreting their daily life. I'm not talking about a blog post. You don't have to be clickbaity on a blog post copy haul itself, because people are already in that blog post, so they're gonna read it. Okay, so you can see here there's no clickbait. These are all real stuff, right? But it's a good copywriting. He's storytelling in the email copy at the same time. So a lot of people don't do copywriting. Like how Monica said, she's gorgeous, but I've never faced a spider. But there was a reason to step up, to conquer your fear, to slay the dragon and win your princess. So that is a storytelling copywriting, even in an email copy, right? So he interpreted it pretty well, and he's putting call to actions. When people click on it, they land on the website and buy speed dating tickets, right? This is a pretty good email copy that written by one of my friends. Okay, so this subject line, main idea was to show you the subject line, right? So there was this subject line, I really liked it, which is, I'm gonna show it to you now. Let's get back to the slides. Okay, clickbait and personal. Subheadline is gonna be the subheadline when they see land on the page, but this is gonna be addressing the pain points. Are you tired of not losing weight, right? So you get that person to click on your ad, and then you're gonna see the next part. The first paragraph is gonna be providing a solution always. Always. Here, the example I just showed you was quite a bit long. Actually, I wouldn't suggest using that long of an email copy. This is kind of a long email copy. You scroll down and down. I wouldn't suggest this. My style is short and sweet in an email copy. So you want to get people to actually get the point across on an email copy, and then have a call to action. Clickbait. So emails are not usually the first touch point in a marketing basis, but ads can be the first touch point, but emails are never the first touch point. So what do I mean by that? So let's get back to, so you need to understand what email marketing is used for, and then it will make a better sense to when you're writing a copy, you can actually write your copy in that way. Okay, we have our Facebook ads. Facebook ads, right? And we have our email, let's say email marketing, EDM. Let's say do email, EDM, by the way, email direct mail, email direct marketing. All right, let's say you interpreted one person's feed on Facebook ads, right? That person is Johnny over here, little stickman Johnny here. Okay, he saw your ad while he's scrolling through his Instagram, IG. First touch point, right? First touch point. You need to have as much value as possible for that person to take action. Even if it's a high ticket product, let's say high ticket, which is, let's say, maybe $2,000 course, and you have a funnel, you're doing like a webinar maybe here, and here maybe you're selling just impulse purchase. Let's say a t-shirt, cheap t-shirt, right? One of those three, doesn't matter. It is the first touch point, and maybe he doesn't buy here, and then maybe he joins the webinar and he buys the t-shirt. Whatever the case may be, that person might or might not, might or might not be targeted with your ads in the future, right? Let's say you're not doing any retargeting. That's an option. Some businesses don't do any retargeting. They should do it, but some businesses don't do any retargeting. Let's say if you don't do any retargeting, you don't have budget, you're a small business owner, let's say, and you don't want to do retargeting, you don't want to spend money to actually go after people who didn't take any sort of type of action you want, right? Let's say that's the case. That's totally possible. That can happen. Let's say that's the case. You're not doing any remarketing. What are you going to do? Email market them. Bam. You're going to email them. Why? Let's say they joined the webinar. They gave you your information. A lot of businesses do that right now. When, let's say, they land their landing page and you get their email and phone number to join the free webinar, right? And then you have their email address. What are you going to do? Like, you didn't get their email address for nothing. So you have to email direct mail. Email direct market them. Email marketing, right? So we get this point clear. But why am I explaining this? This is one scenario, right? This is one scenario. The second scenario is, there's Johnny again. And we target him. The first touch point we did is Instagram. He knows the business, and then we email marketed this before, by the way. Let's just type in email. So he already knows that business. This is the second touch point here. Second touch point. He's seen the email before. He's seen the ad. He doesn't buy. He doesn't go into the webinar. You remarket that guy on, let's say, Facebook this time. And he doesn't buy again, and then he doesn't even join the webinar, right? And then he gets your course, buys your high-ticket course with remarketing campaign, and you have his email. Once he bought your product, you have his email, and then let's say a couple of months pass, and then you want to sell an upsell product to that person. How are you going to do that? Bam, email marketing. You're going to do that as well. And also, you can drive traffic with those email marketing. You don't have to actually sell something. You can drive traffic to that with that. But what am I telling that? What am I showing you the importance of email marketing and how that functions? As we covered, Johnny is never being targeted with an email before as a first touch point. Johnny? The email marketing is always second touch point, or let's say third touch point, fourth touch point, fifth touch point. And usually there is a saying that a person decides to buy in a seventh touch point of a brand or product, right? Let's say up to 7 touch point. But the email marketing is never the first touch point. So this is really important, guys. Never the first touch point. Never the first. Right? I'm not talking about the Google ads, discovery ads that just pop in your Gmail, right? I'm not talking about those. Those are ads. This is email marketing. This is a totally different thing. Totally different ball game. Right? So since this is never the first touch point, your emails can actually be shorted. So that was the main idea I was trying to get to. If you make your emails a little bit shorter than usual than your other copies, that's quite normal. That's quite acceptable. Because your email is never your first touch point. If it was the first touch point, you had to be more conveying the brand values, more about the product, more about storytelling. You can still do that, but you don't necessarily need to. You can get away with shorter copies on email marketing. Email shorter is good. But other types of email, of course, you want to make it as long as possible. All right. Let's get back to it. To the slides. All right. First paragraph, subheadline, address the pain point. First paragraph, provide the solution. So we're gonna say, okay, last example was speed dating. Rather than telling your story, I would do, okay, this is you're gonna have some trouble finding the person online. You never know if they're catfishing you or whatever. Like, you want to actually see that person in real life before you meet that person. And speed dating offers that. And second paragraph offers information. What does that mean? We're gonna say, okay, you're gonna rotate every 2 minutes, every 5 minutes, and you're gonna see that person in real life. I will be there guiding everybody, having a good time. Free drinks. Bam. Offers the info. Solution is there, offers the info, and invites the action. Bam, you're gonna sell that ticket call to action, and you get that person to buy. Headline for an email. Let's go back to the headline for an email again. I am giving up on you, Alex. This is between us, Jamie. So these are the headlines you should always use. This is like critical, and I know you might get into some trouble convincing that brand owner to actually write that type of email, but these are type of emails that you should use. Why? Because those are the ones that are getting people to click. So email marketing is complete junk. Not junk, but a person's inbox is like a mess. Always a mess. It is not like an Instagram page. You don't really actually get to choose who you follow, right? So you can get all types of shit from other people, right? All types of emails, scams, all types of emails, promotions, scams. So you want to make it personal, so that person actually, oh shit, this person's talking to me. There is no offer in the subject line, and there is something actually directed to me directly. Not a promotion, not a scam, nothing else. So that person clicks. And then if you get that ice broken, the first, obstacle, you almost won the game in email copywriting. And always use these guys. These are really powerful, proven techniques. If the offer, let's say you're doing like a super easy, you're like email marketing for Nike, copywriting for Nike, Adidas, Puma, New Balance, big brands. Or let's say you're, Udi is a big company in Australia right now, like the baggy hoodies, the blanket ones. If you're one of those guys, writing copy for one of those guys, you can get away with just putting the offer. But if the offer is outstanding, if you have a 10% off, nobody's gonna click on it. But if it's like a 50% to 40% is quite acceptable to put in the ad. I would definitely not suggest you put below 20%. 30% is a little bit of a slippery slope. You can put in the subject line, but up like around 50 to 40% and above is quite acceptable to put in the subject headline. You can get away with that. 50% off until t-shirts, free ebook to increase sales. If it's a free thing, put it in the headline. Hey Jim, hey Alex, hey Jasmine, I got you a free email. This is between us, in a winky face. Always make it personal, and so you can make those headlines actually better by making personal. 50% off for t-shirts, winky face for you, Jamie, Alex, Jim, Jasmine, right? Make it personal. Example headlines, do's and don'ts. Special offer inside? No, never do that. Everybody's doing that. How can a pair of pens can make your life better? That's pretty good one actually. That actually special offer for a pair of pants. Nobody's gonna click on that. But here you made that a little bit personal and aroused curiosity. But I wouldn't do that either. I would also trigger something like this. This is between us, Jamie. And then once they click on it, they come inside. They see how can a pair of pants can make your life better, Jamie or Alex or Jasmine. I would do that. I will add my mainly. So this is just an A/B test, which actually performed better than this one, but I'm actually making that even better, right? Our newest product, so boring, don't do it. I can't keep that secret from you anymore, Jace. Bam, bang on, amazing one. Email call to action is a little tricky. So light call to actions tend to perform better in email copywriting. Buy now, I wouldn't suggest it. Check it out, would suggest it. Don't say join now, say check it out. So check it out is a lighter commitment. There is no much of a hard ask. This service revolutionizes your business. Don't do it. We got a better way of doing things. It was an example that we just gave, and then you put these call to actions. All right, social media is the fun part. We're gonna cover that in the next module. Let's go to the social media ads now. So we finished most of the course right now, but this is a really comprehensive part of that course. So you're gonna like it, I'm 100% sure. So social media ad copy. So we are actually going over the actual social ads, which are Twitter ads, Facebook ads, Google ads is a totally different segment of ads, which is called search engine marketing. But of course, you can implement that in other types of ads as well. On YouTube ads copy can actually be included in that. What else we're gonna cover? Facebook ads, Google ads, LinkedIn ads, TikTok ads, quite a bit of different, but I'm gonna cover that copy as well. All right, let's get into it. So make sure the first sentence is a hook. So what do I mean by that? Of course, if you're doing a factual style copy, which we covered in the first couple of modules, you don't need to have a hook, right? If it's gonna be a short tail copy, you don't need to have a hook. If it's, let's say, you're selling a t-shirt, you don't need to have a hook. So it's gonna be pretty straightforward, a factual copy. You don't need to have a hook in there. Before they click on the see more, we need to get a hook, otherwise they will not see more. But this is only for long tail copies. But my stand, I prefer long tail copies over short tail copies. So how you can actually structure this type of style. So let's go to Facebook ads, and we're gonna write an ad right now together. All right. So you're gonna see how the process is being done, and let's go and see create an ad, right? All right. Let's come to Facebook ads. If you have no idea about Facebook ads, it is still all good. You still will have an idea of like what is a copy, what is how you can actually write a copy. All right, let's say we want to use this creative. These are really bad creatives, but I'm just showing it just for the sake of it, just for the sake of showing the copy. Okay. All right. As you can see over here, we have the see more on the preview, and each preview is totally different. So this is Facebook feeds preview. This is Instagram feed preview, which is, it cuts off Turkish coffee and astrology. Over here, it cuts off and tells you shocking secrets. So you have to be really methodical, and you have to write for each specific preview, location, placement, right? In Marketplace, you don't really have to worry about it, but I would actually worry about Instagram feed and Facebook feed and write specifically for that. And on stories, it cuts off Turkish coffee. So on stories, if you have taken my Zero to Hero digital marketing course, I cover this more in depth, which is, I suggest you create a specific image for 1920 to 1080, which is going to be a more vertical one. So you have to actually put some sort of a copy in the creative itself, in the image itself, right? Otherwise, you're not using the real estate over here at the top, at the bottom. Anyways, let's go. We're gonna cover the Facebook feed and Instagram feed right now. So do the most of it. Let's say we are selling a palm reading service here. I covered this business in depth. We create a lot of ads for this business in digital zero to hero digital marketing. So here we're going to use this example as well. Okay, so let's say we have this bad boy, a lot in the fortune teller, and we are selling palm reading, and we have to be really sure that once we get to a point that before they click see more, we cover most of the important parts and the hook is there. So why would a person, so we need to understand the product first. Why would a person get a palm reading? Is it an impulse purchase? Are we solving a problem? Actually, we're not solving a problem. Everybody wants to see their future. It's not actually a problem, right? They want to hear good shit. That's the end of it. They want to hear some good shit, and it's an impulse purchase. And what they want to hear, it's mainly their financial life and love life, but mainly love life. So we're going to cover love life. So what they want, get to know if, so usually girl is our target, females are our target customer. So we're going to assume they're straight. So we're going to write, get to know if he is the right one. Question mark. Bam. So this is pretty straightforward, as if, but we have to write a little bit more. Get to know if it's the right one. So this is a pretty good hook. First sentence is pretty good right now. So we're gonna put that, you know, this sphere, cannot pronounce that, sphere emoji. What is that? Okay, this bad boy. Get to know if he's the right one. Get to know if he's the right one. So people usually get into the trap. They try to, you know, talk about their business. Oh, we are this, we are that, we are, you know, professional palm readers. And that's a big mistake. They don't care about you. That's the harsh truth. Even if it's a big brand, they don't care about you. They want to see what they get at the end of that service or product, right? Get to know if he's the right one. Receive his character analysis and ours, and see if you are actually compatible. Okay, so this is pretty good. This is a good short tail copy. Now we're going down. We're gonna write some stuff, and you see they need to see more. But if I were to get this text and write it over here, you're gonna see what's gonna happen. They're not gonna be able to read that. So it is the perfect point that we introduced our hook. They know what's about them in it, and we're gonna go down and put the details. Right? And let's say, let's put the price was 99, now 9. Don't talk about yourself, talk about what's in it for them. So they're saving $90, right? They are saving. You're not making a discount. Always talk about that. Take a photo of your palm and simply submit to the website. Receive your reading, which can change your life. Okay, so this is the end of a, okay, we can still consider that as a long tail, but it is not that long. And we're gonna add a call to action at the end because it's a pretty simple service. Taking a photo of your palm, putting it in, but what could be even better is storytelling, right? We're gonna do that as well. So this is a straightforward copy. The details are there, pretty straightforward. So they have to click to see more. But as you can see, there is this point that it cuts off in the Instagram. But I'm quite happy with this because it's always super hard to actually arrange that it's not cutting off, and even with like Facebook ads or Google ads. Let's do this way. Let's see if it cuts. All right, that's perfect actually. But here this cuts in now, right? So you have to maybe create two different ad sets in it. So we coming into Facebook ads a little bit, but two different ad sets. You can select the placement in the ad set level. If you're interested in Facebook ads in detail, go purchase my Zero to Hero Digital Marketing. That's covering that in depth. So you have to create two ad sets to arrange the manual placements, right? So what you can do is actually create one for Facebook only. So you write that in custom to that. If you're writing for Facebook only, you write like this. And if you're writing for Instagram only, you write like this. But in this case, for example purposes, we are writing specifically for Facebook feeds, right? And then, okay, so they need a call to action at the end, right? Let's write a call to action here. Let's say order your. By the way, the call to action in social ads can be as direct as possible. Order your palm reading now and don't miss the discount. Okay, there is a discount, we're telling that. And when the discount ends, we covered that in the previous modules. It has to be an exact date. And we want to put, let's say, a time clock emoji. The offer ends 9th of January, June, July, 2 p.m. Right? This is an exact date. Act now. Bam. Okay, that's pretty. Let's put that here again. Act now. Let's put an exclamation mark. Okay, that's pretty much giving them, if they, let's say on Facebook feed, we created an urgency, a specific date. Bam. Offer ends 9th of July, 2 p.m. Act now. Bam. You got that. And you're actually going to make that sale right away. So this was a factual copy. Let's do a story copy. So in a story copy, I would rather keep those parts the bottom as well. And I will start writing a story here. I wasn't sure he was the right one for me. We were constantly having arguments. Rather than arguments, try to make it simpler, fights. Because people don't want to read, complicated words. Always make it simple. Constant fights. Let's go one step down. I needed some sort of confirmation about that person. Then I stumbled across Aladdin, the fortune teller. And we're gonna cover all the objectives a person might gonna have, right? I was not. Rather than wasn't, we're gonna say was not. We covered that. So you always want to revise your copy. So the first draft you write is not going to be the best draft. They always talk about it, like people write their copy, don't publish it, wait a couple of days. Even if it's a simple ad copy, they wait it, they ask a couple of people, they make little tests, they ask people back again, they read it back again, they go out, take a couple of steps, walks, and come back. So they refresh their brain, take a look at it from a different perspective. I needed some sort of confirmation about that person. Then I stumbled across a lot into fortune teller. I was not sure about the palm reading service at first, right? Then my friend Jesse put the names in there, always makes it believable. My friend Jesse suggested I should give it a try because she told me he guessed almost everything right about her relationship. I thank her. I discovered this palm reading service because, and you can sprinkle in the USPs here, unique selling propositions, because I don't have to leave my home and go to dodgy what is that place that they look at palm reading? What was the place called? Anyways, fortune telling, coffee shops. Now I am married to the love of my life, and I learned that the fights we had were really normal. Because of our compatibility, structure, something in palm reading. I don't actually know palm reading, but it's just an example, right? And we gave that service. We tackled objections. People don't want to go to a dodgy place. It's online. It's a USP, and people see that as like a dodgy service. We tackled that objection as well, and we put those call to actions and unique selling propositions still in there, right? And maybe if you don't want to make let's say a discount, you don't have to. You make that discount in a remarketing ad. Bam, you're good to go, right? So this is a primary text. So this headline is actually a story headline we covered, and in a storytelling manner. We didn't actually put so many subheadings. We could have, but this is more of a storyline, so we didn't. And yeah, so we can, on the headline section, we're gonna see more options. Let's see, options. In the options one, it just automatically changes what shows up. I don't really suggest that you use at a website URL. A lot in the fortune teller. Okay, now we see the headline part. The headline part is over here. Actually, this is not the headline. This is underneath the ad, but it is called headline in Facebook and Instagram ads. And the Instagram ads, the headline shows first. What you type over here, it pops up first, right? So let's say what we're gonna write here. So here, this one shows up. This is like a headline, but here we're gonna write in, let's say, usually you don't want to put too much here. Let's say we put too much, you're gonna see it cuts off over here as well. See, they need to click see more. Usually they're not gonna be able to see We now see this, but they're not gonna see it like that, right? They have to click see more. And we want to keep it as short as possible, as sweet as possible, because the headline of Facebook ads is really not showing a lot. Let's say I usually put a small unique selling proposition. Takes 30 seconds. Takes 30 seconds. I mean, it's a quick process, right? Maybe you can write super quick. And in the description, I would also add another unique selling proposition. If it was a product, I would put free shipping. You can put, let's say there was a big discount, right? 99. Now it's a 90. I will put save 90. So people always are risk averse, so which we'll cover in a bit. So this is the storytelling version of it. I would always keep it either storytelling or factual, but there are different styles, as we have covered before. So it's totally up to you how you want to leverage that. All right. And see you in the next module, guys. We're going to cover more social ads. So now we're going to see and cover the good and the bads and the uglies, right? As I told you how I really liked Sabri Subi's copywriting, here's a good example and a bad example. So why are we going to cover why this is a good or a bad example? So stock like only Adobe can. Okay, so we're seeing the primary text, but it doesn't really tell anything. But you might be asking, okay, but Jim, this is a really big brand. They don't have to, explain themselves. But no, always, even the big brands have to explain themselves. I'm going to show you one thing. Look at the headline at the bottom headline, which is called headline in Facebook ads. Adobe stock. Like, what the hell does that even mean? It's the name of the brand. I already see the name of the brand over here, right? It kills the whole purpose. It's a really bad ad example by Adobe. Sorry for that, guys. I'm not talking good about you. My bad. Okay, so search new premium and editorial collections. That is a good description. I mean, what else you can write? And you can type why people actually get Adobe. Design and create great images and videos. Perfect. Then we'll replace this. And it's a bad example. Here, let's look at a good example. Sabri Subi, my guy here, wrote an amazing one. Here's how to tickle the pixel, but I would have a criticism here. There's no self-interest in this headline. There's only curiosity. I would put also self-interest. Here's how you can tickle the pixel and make Facebook ads work for you. That is how self-interest plus curiosity. Here, a great imagery. Photoshop the hell out of Mark Zuckerberg. And it's the fastest and simplest, the most scalable way to explode your leads, ROAS, and Facebook ads. Good. So you get the idea. It's about Facebook ads, how you can make Facebook ads better. And you click see more, you see the whole thing. Let's look at the little headline over here. Weird new way to supercharge Facebook ads. That's awesome, man. Weird new way, super curiosity, arousing. I really wonder what the hell is that, and I'm really definitely gonna click on that ad. And look at that description, by the way. He's not done yet. Weird way to switch on quotation mark God mode with Facebook ads. In parentheses, read carefully. Crazy good ad. Crazy good ad. I really like this one. Let's move on. Social proof is another big thing. So as you saw, how we put storytelling in a social proof. In the previous module, we said Jesse told me, then I wasn't sure that I bought it. So it creates a social proof as well when you're telling a story. It says, okay, you're not the only one. There are some other people at the same time thinking like you and buying that product. Here, 35,000 people signed up today for a free ebook. Okay, there's quite a bit of people. I wouldn't say 35,000 though. What I will say is 35,401 people, right? That makes it actually more believable. So it's like an arbitrary number. The best course I've ever purchased, at least. I tried Udemy courses before, but this is an example of my course, for example. Udemy courses before, but they never served me well. This course now really satisfies my educational needs. Perfect one. Talks about other people are actually buying For example, this one is a game at 9,212 basketball fans gave overall 4.9 ratings. So this gives another viewpoint to this, right? So it's being demanded. You should always put these in the, you can put that in the primary text. I wouldn't put that as a headline underneath the Facebook ads. Like, you can put that as a headline too, by the way. So what will they achieve? I've covered this in the example part. What will they achieve? Sell the outcome, not the benefits and features. Always sell the outcome. What did we do in the fortune teller one? We sold the outcome. Learn if he's the right one for you. So they're not buying it because it's a palm reading service. They want to get an outcome. They want to get an end result, which is learning about their life, financial situation, or loved one. Either two things, right? They don't give a shit about like what they're gonna look like when they're like 70 or something. Like, nobody cares, right? To try to talk about the end goal rather than features. This is the biggest mistake I've seen when Facebook advertisers are always putting those bam, bam, bam. Even if it's like a small product you're selling, let's say what can it be, like a Budweiser, a beer, simple beer. And if you look at Budweiser commercials, TV commercials, the most popular one was actually the What's Up one, if you remember that one. Let me just show it to you real quick. It's a pretty good one. Budweiser commercial. Okay, let's watch it together.
Hello? Hey, who? What's up? Nothing, B. Just watching the game, having a bud. What's up with you? Nothing. Watching the game, having a bud. True. What's up? Yo, what's that?
Yo, you're picking the phone.
Hello? What's that?
What's up? Yo, where's Dookie?
Yo, Duke. Yo.
What's up?
What's that?
Hold on. Hello?
So what's up, B? Watching the game, having a bud. True.
So you see the point. It's a pretty cool ad. Was one of the most successful ad campaign that Budweiser ever did. Is one of the most successful and noteworthy campaigns. People still remember to this day. To this day, now we're in 2022, almost 2023 now. People still remember this. I don't know, this was how long ago, right? So, what does that mean? Actually, this means, guys, using the end result as a selling point, talking about the end result. Here you can see Budweiser is not selling, oh, we have like 4.5 like point alcohol, we have, you know, like this much sugar, this much carbs. They're talking about what will they achieve. They're gonna have that fun with the friends, the collaboration, the end result. You know, having a bud, having a cold one, feeling chill, that energy. They are selling that outcome. You get the idea, right? They're not selling that, you know, small little things that, you know, every upcoming brand does. They're selling the outcome. They're selling the having fun framework. That's really, really important. That's why that campaign was really successful, guys. If you look at other campaigns, the bullshit campaigns I see all the time, we do this, we do that, like nobody cares. Nobody cares about your features and benefits. They of course like care, but the selling point is actually the end result. Okay, let's look at this. Of course, if you're writing like a pretty straightforward Google ads, search ads, for example, it's hard to convey that the end result in like such a short character limit. But you need to, of course, put some features and benefits in Google search ads. But it's a different ball game. Okay, has 8 natural ingredients. Okay, that's a feature. That's a benefit. That's a feature, sorry, not a benefit. But okay, that's good. Okay, 8 natural ingredients, but what do I get out of that? What do I get out of that is smooth skin that I've always wanted. That's the end result that I'm looking for. That's why I'm buying that shampoo, that soap, that conditioner, right? That's not what I'm looking for. That's not what I'm buying it for. You can still talk about the features and benefits, but keep in mind that people buy the end results. That's the main point that we want to underline here. Okay, loss aversion. Loss aversion is a really big thing as well. Fear of missing out. So what does that mean? So people actually don't want to earn money. They fear losing money. Of course, people want to earn money, but I want to show this to you guys. The fear, they've actually made a test, made a big research on it. All right, let's erase this. They made a research on this point. There was making money, an emotion of making money, emotion losing money. They tested those emotions in a lot of ways. And what came out at the end is emotion of losing money always trump emotion of making money. So you gotta get good high on this, but the emotion that you experience of losing money is way, way, way higher. So they tested with the ads as well. They had the same amount, let's say in here you get to earn some certain amount of money, 10 grand let's say, and here you have the chance of losing 2 grand, for example, which is way less amount, but still this emotion of losing money was weighing more in a person's brain, in a person's subconscious, was way higher than making money. So loss aversion is a really big thing when it comes to marketing, so we need to capitalize on that. If you're running ads for your business, always use this. Fear of missing out is extremely big, extremely big. You never want to underestimate this when you're writing. Losing money is more painful than gaining money. Is great. This is a great quote. Find top paying digital marketing jobs on xxx.com. Rather than saying this, every day you are unemployed, you are losing income. So check out xyz.com. xyz.com, right? So you have to make the loss aversion more into their faces, into their eyes, so they actually be triggered to take a certain action. All right, make the numbers small but how? So so you have a big number. You're selling a course for $999, which was the initial price of my digital marketing 0 to hero digital marketing course, but now it's down to I have to check. It was down to 700, I reckon. It says that, like, look at this. Divided time in price concludes a lower perception in price. So this was all actually tested many times, and it was actually proven, literally proven that people actually perceive that as a smaller number. It's all psychological tricks, guys. People don't always move with move with their brains, move with their logics. They always think that they're moving with their logics, but actually they move with emotions, and they make a logical justification on their emotional decisions, right? So for example, here what we have, $100 of this outdoor chair. Not a bad, but it's you can make this better. How we can make this better? For just $3 a day, you could relax in your outdoor chair. Bam. For just $3 a day, right? You're dividing that time, that price, into time and a coffee a day. You could relax in your, outdoor chair. Bam, sold that. Another trick: big number before price. 2 packs of pencils. 4 packs of pencils. Sorry. Pack of 6 pencil for 2, but you cannot always do that. So if your price is $999, like how are you gonna say this, right? You like one maybe think like how many hours in a day and multiply it with the number of days. It's gonna be way hard to do it. If you have a small ticket product, let's say you're selling a basic tee, let's say your t-shirt price, I'm trying to draw a t-shirt here, is $9, really cheap t-shirt, and let's say you're gonna say how we can say this, so we have to put a bigger number before price. So if you figure out a way to put a bigger number for price, let's say wear this shirt for at least, you have a, for example, money guarantee for 365 days. Wear this shirt 365 days for only $9. Pretty cool, right? So you put a bigger number. It doesn't matter. The number before you put doesn't have to be a price. It can be anything. It's just a psychological trick. 31 days of coaching for $30, right? So you put a bigger number, which is a day, but doesn't really matter. It's a psychology trick. You put a bigger number before your price. Has to be bigger, of course. If you make a smaller number, if it was, let's say 29, then this was 60. Doesn't make sense. You cannot use that rule. Big number before price rule. All right, remarketing ad copy. So this is actually quite different. We need to cover this part as well, but we need to cover this part in the next module, guys. Down to it. We're in remarketing. Remarketing compared to actually reaching out to a cold audience, compared to that, it is fairly easy. Fairly easy compared to reaching out to a cold audience from scratch. You're gonna ask me why. I'll tell you, because you already have a couple of touch points, maybe at least one touch point with that client, and the client actually is aware that your brand exists, right? They know that you exist. So that is the most important part. So you have to acknowledge the relationship when you're writing a copy and present a custom offer ideally. I know that is the best case scenario, but you cannot always do that. It's kind of hard. Like you cannot always, if you are working with a client, go ask them, can you please give me custom offer. So as a marketer yourself, you cannot ask a brand owner, for example, a Nike, if you're working with Nike, Nike, like, where's my custom offer for remarketing? If they don't hear remarketing, you're left with working with what you have, right? It's kind of like hard to actually expect that. But here, let's go. What we have. Present the custom offer, ideally, yes. And we're gonna present a custom offer if you have the ability to present a custom offer. That's the best way to do it. Okay, so let's look at what ClickFunnels has done. ClickFunnels is really good at marketing, building websites and stuff, building funnels. Okay, let's look at the ad. You've heard, well, it's a little small. I'll have to make it a little bit bigger, guys. I'm sorry for that. Bam. All right. Okay, now I can see it. All right, here we go. You heard the word time and time again, funnels. And it's acknowledging the relationship that I'm aware of his brand, right? He acknowledges that relationship already. You heard the success stories of people who transform their businesses. How ordinary people have turned their passion into profit, and pretty good cuts here. I will give it to him. Pretty good ad, but the first sentence is kind of hard to read. Like if people doesn't have like enough time to actually understand, if they like stutter a little bit, they skip it right away. I would write it in a way that a 6th grader would like easily skim through it. But it's a pretty good ad. The copy, I like the copy. He highlighted it, the images, and 10,000 leads in 30 days. pretty good as well. He did the big number before small pop number as strategy too. He made it seem like 30 days is a small period of time with or you pay zero, pretty good too. Yes, look at this. So let's take what is good there and put it in our bags, right? So acknowledging the relationship. Is this a custom offer? We don't know. We haven't seen the first ad. I have seen the first ad, but I probably don't remember the first ad, right? And before we get into, all right, let's me get back to, all right. Before we get back into what we have, hold on one sec. All right, here we go. We need to handle objections, but he didn't. The part that we should actually not get from ClickFunnels, guys, is he didn't handle any objection here. The only objection maybe is, is this true? Like, is this legit? If I'm really gonna get that many leads, he says, okay, if you don't get the leads, you pay zero. But it's not in an objection manner. So handling objection is like a piece of art, actually. Okay, let's see what I have. They didn't purchase. People actually didn't purchase because they had some objections, right? Maybe the price was high. One of the most common objections. If it's a brick and mortar product, like a tangible product, the shipping was expensive. That's one of the highest objections. If they land on your site and add it to cart and didn't purchase, the shipping. So the easiest way to convert a person who actually added to cart is provide a coupon code that eliminates the shipping cost. If you do this technique, your revenue will skyrocket. I guarantee you this. I've seen it time and time again. If you have a shipping cost which is like over $10, and if you have a lot of add to carts, and if you offer them free shipping or a coupon code that eliminates the price of shipping, bam, you're gonna increase your conversion rate a lot. So you have to put that in the ad copy. But if you of course can do it, if you can't provide that coupon code, you have to work with other objections. What are the other possible objections people may have? You can't change the ones that don't like the product. That's a given. Some people will actually not gonna like your product, right? Even the best marketers in the world, you put them in a room and make them work for like 365 days, some people are not going to purchase, right? They're not going to like it. It's not like one product is not for everybody. But you can change the ones that they have objections. So our goal is to change the ones that like the product, but they have a couple of objections. How many times you've been to Amazon and you really like something you want to buy, but something came up to your mind and you said like, fuck it, I'm not going to buy. You said that a couple of times, right? You remember that. That happens a lot. So we have some objections in our heads and we want that to be tackled, right? We don't want to make the decision ourselves. We want it to be taken care of ourselves by that seller. Possible rejections, price, offer discount, shipping, offer a free shipping coupon code. No testimonials is a big one. Then people might think if your product is not on Amazon or even on Amazon, you can see a lot of dodgy, shady products, and you want to see testimonials. And what is the first thing you do? You look at the testimonials, the reviews, how many 5-star reviews, and you also look at the comments under 5-star reviews. If all 5-star reviews are like, oh, amazing product, you will think that these are fake reviews, right? You might think, oh, like they're not even real. Maybe like the owner of that product probably came in, write down a bunch of reviews, him, his family, his friends. I mean, that's the name of the game. So you have to actually analyze the testimonials, and the testimonials have to be long and actually believable. They have to be real testimonials. You cannot get away with fake ones, and the fake ones actually look fake, even if they try to make you long. So there are certain ways, certain tactics. Email me if you want to know them. You know my email, jim@thegymsdigitalmarketing.com. There are certain ways to understand the fake testimonials, which is not like it's an amazing product. No, it's not about that. There are certain ways people actually track if the testimonial is fake, it's not a technology, it's like a writing psychology. You can understand if it's a brand owner is writing about their product, right? They have other options. Simply show how your service and product is better than others. So you are not the only fish in the ocean, in the pond. You're gonna have a bunch of competitors, and you're gonna talk about that, how your product is better than XYZ. So in this case, I suggest using the competitive ad copy, right? In the competitive ad copy, it shows, for example, our tire size X, competitor tire size Y, which is less than X, so it makes sense. All right, so we're done with remarketing copy. You know the style, so you're gonna implement those. I would also suggest a bonus one. You acknowledge that they didn't have time. It's a bonus one. I usually use it myself. You acknowledge they're a busy person. You didn't have time last time. But if they actually don't like your product, or that is rarely the objection, people might really don't care about it. You have to tackle real objections people have. All right, landing page copy. There are two types of scanners. People scan the page, but I want to get into it in the next module, but I want to just quickly skim through. Landing page is a quite different subject here, because it is not all about copy that makes the landing page perform better. There are a lot of other variables involved in it, but since this is a copywriting course, we want to maximize what we get out of this course, right? So we want to also cover this one. But landing page has a lot of variables. Page speed is maybe the one of the biggest ones. The second one is the testimonials in the landing page, I would say, really important. Third one, if your images look stock images, that's a big no-no. Fourth one, less click is the better. You don't want to make it complicated. And the page user friendliness. And then you have the copy. So that's why I wanted to make sure if you have the best copy in the world, if your landing page is slow as, not really functioning, you're not going to make anything work. So just wanted to make it clear. And let's see you in the depths of landing page. Now we're covering the landing page, and we're going to get into bits and pieces of it, right? So we said there are two types of scanners of a page, of an ad, of a blog post, of a landing page, right? So one is an F pattern. So I'll show you how that looks in a second. And one is Z pattern. So let me just draw on my board so you understand how it is. Yeah. Two types. One is F pattern, one is Z pattern. Which one is the most common one? If you ask me, both of them are common. Both of them are really common. But probably the most you've seen is the F pattern. So there are two landing pages. This is one. This is two. One is F. Second one is Z. So in the F one, it usually goes like this. People read like this, right? They look at here, start here, goes here, down like that. And the Z pattern, some people look at this and they build the landing pages for that. They start here, look at here, go here, look at here, look at here. And there are certain implications of both. So let's look at those. What are those implications? You can build your sites in both ways, but try to implement at least one of them when you're having a page. Let's look at the F pattern, which is be covered in the board, right? Let me just delete this. Bam. Okay, so this is how it looks. So these are the heat maps, how people actually read those pages. So if you build your page like that, it will actually increase your chances. So what is actually, how you can structure it, I will cover that later. Here, as you can see, people start here, look at here, and then go down here, go down here. So as you can see, this is the clearest F pattern we can see. Here, Google, for example, they built their site literally for an F pattern. I'm talking about Google, yes. All right, I'll just quickly show you how you can build your site on an F pattern on the board. So this is your website. You want to have a title here first. Big title. Title, right? Underneath that, have an image. The best one that I've seen so far, which has been working, proven to work, and some text next to it. Go down, some text next to it. So this is a clear F pattern, as you can see. This is mainly used by ClickFunnels. They are built for these F pattern actually, so people navigate through it easier on an F pattern on this landing page, right? And let's move on. I will show you how you can build your site on a Z pattern as well. All right, so here is a Z pattern, right? Which is the old Facebook sign up page, right? You see the first title, Facebook. You see the, sign up password, whatever. And you can see the third, the image. You go down, call to action. At the bottom, by the way, if you forgot to say, you should have a call to action. The bottom of the F pattern. And here, you always have the call to action at the bottom right. Z pattern, call to action. F pattern, usually here or bottom right. Call to action is at the very bottom, right? You can see that. There's one thing also I want to cover. This is really important. Certain pages, for example, F pattern is suitable for certain things and Z pattern is suitable for certain things. I would use F pattern if I have an informative product. Let's say I'm selling an information, if I'm selling a course, if I'm getting people to sign up for a webinar or sort of stuff like that. I would actually get people to, this is more common, I would use Z pattern as well. This is really, let me just get myself bigger. Really profitable, and profitable if you do it right, for people who actually skim through. You want to use a lot of headlines, subheadings, so they skim through. This is also a skimming through method, but you want to put the important things in that sense. Okay, let's go ahead and create one Z pattern product page. Another product landing page. It can be a product as well. Here you have your title. Next to it, you might have an image, right? You go down, you have the description, product description it can be. And then you have a call to action either here or either here, but I prefer to have here. So they see the title, let's say Nike shoe, right? And then you have the product image, the shoe here, image. You have the product description, pretty long product description I want you to have. Factual copy it is. You're gonna need to write the factual copy, do competitive copy. We covered this in the previous modules. And you're gonna have a checkout, either here, or maybe add to cart here. This is the structure. This is really good. Z pattern is really good for product descriptions, right? But F pattern is for informative products. For blog posts, you're gonna see a lot of information-based stuff is mainly on F pattern. But you can try and see which one works the best for you. I personally prefer Z pattern a little bit, but F pattern, since I'm more of an informational-based channel in a product company. I would usually go with the F pattern for myself. A ton of value from this course. We've covered a lot of copywriting tips, techniques, and actually theories that are actually being tested, right? I hope you want to actually get those pieces of information and put them into work. So otherwise, it's gonna be nothing. And before we actually call it, I wanna show you how you can implement when you're writing a copy for your website, for your business, or you want to maybe use the skill for other businesses, other companies. Maybe you just want to freelance, or you are showing this video to, let's say your marketing team in the company, so they can write better copies for the website, for search engine optimization, or get for ads itself. What I want you to do when you're writing copy, the first thing you write is going to be probably really, really bad. I don't want you to be emotionally attached to it. Let's say you write a copy here, you didn't like it, you look at it a little bit, and then you go back, take a breather outside, and come back in, right? And you have to sit there and think about that copy for at least 2 hours for one advertisement. I'm talking about one ad. Copywriting is a serious business. When I first started, I thought it was like a scam. People were doing this back in the days, 10 years ago. But it's actually a skill. So actually good brands have copywriters specifically designed for that, which increases their revenue significantly. So that's why I urge you guys to, when you write your copy for Facebook ads, whatever it is, write it down, look at it. Don't publish it yet. Don't publish it yet. Make another version of it. Think about both. And go outside, take a breather, come back in, edit a little bit more. Go outside, come back in, edit a little bit more. Once you've done your 5th edit, show both of them to a friend, a couple of people in the company that you're working in. If you're not working in a company, post in a Facebook group. But their reviews would only give you some idea. You're gonna move with your gut as well, I know. But you want to get some ideas, but I know those ideas are not gonna be proven customer ideas, right? So they're just your friends or people who have just opinions. You want to get facts. So that's why I created this course, to give you some foundations, that proven methods are there that you can take bits and pieces, but still when you're gonna write your copy, you're gonna use those techniques, but you're still gonna find ways to improve yourself in those copies. So what I want you to do is get some ideas, test, ask people, always test. When you're using digital platforms, it's way easier than ever to test rather than direct mail back in the days. And test guys. Always test the copy, A/B test it, and don't always write the first and publish it right away. So that will be your biggest mistake. And even you write that copy, you wake up the other day, you'll be like, damn, did I write this? And your mind shifts pretty quickly. So I definitely want you to give it a quick, like one day, easy, to actually grasp that idea and see what is going on with the copy that you've written, and you're gonna have a better idea. Hope you like this course. Please share with your friends if you like this. Have fun, enjoy your career, guys. Take care.